Now, before we get into the headlines, a quick wrap from news. Things they talked about that I found quite interesting was this whole issue around the presidential pardon that never was, right? Let's hear what they said.
The issue about presidential pardon generally is one that I find controversial. I have never really accepted that aspect of our constitution. I think that presidents should have no business pardoning people. When people are jailed or convicted in accordance with the judicial process, that should terminate it. And I do not think that presidents sitting in a political position should ordinarily be given that power. Historically, the reason kings and queens of England pardoned people were because the courts were the kings and queens' courts. And so they have essentially delegated their judicial authority to the courts. And so they could have the final say. And on ceremonial occasions, out of goodwill, they pardon people. But we have seen this time and again when presidents have pardoned people who ordinarily ought not to be pardoned, so to speak. And then the contest and the controversy and the criticisms will come. I think we have a few examples in history. The current one, I would say that perhaps, but for one or two names that appears in there, or that appear in there, maybe this would have passed without people even knowing about it. Yeah. But those one or two names then implicate broader problems with the whole pardoning process. You have 10 times more the number of people on this list who reflect the same indices. The question is, why are they still in there?
These individuals submitted petitions. Those petitions were vetted, and then because the president couldn't sit at the Jubilee House on his own, pardon people, submitted a letter to the Council of State. The Council of State on the 2nd of January actually did meet the president as part of the consultation process. And at the end of the consultation, it was decided that these people should not be pardoned. So that's how come when news started coming around that the president had pardoned these individuals, the president had issued a statement to indicate to the public that no such a decision had been taken by the president. So the president consulted the Council of State, and at the end of the day, the decision was taken that these people should not be pardoned. That's what I can say for now. But unfortunately, on the state, the letter that was forwarded to the Council of State was leaked. And instead of most people, including, some media personnel, taking time to look at that letter, decided to come to a conclusion that the president had pardoned some people. Because that letter was clearly a letter that the president had sent to the Council of State as part of the consultation process.
I think that in waiting into the exercise of the presidential pardon is the idea that the voters must have a chance to also have their say on it. And if that's why they punish the presidency, I think for fair reason. But one of the things that case does damage to, when it was challenged, there were 3 petitions, and I'm happy Alfred Tuyayeboa is here. He, Elikuri Magbanvan, and Bedu to Asante.
In that matter of the contemnors, the Munchie 3 in particular,
right.
Maybe I'm one of those very few people, after reading Mami's, piece on that, and reading the judgment all over again yesterday, I am inclined to believe that for many, many, many reasons, that was actually one of the reasons why we lost. And lost in the manner in which we did. I genuinely believe it. I know that a lot of people probably stopped thinking about it and not much was said about it. And maybe because it was also such a sensitive matter, most people really didn't want to talk about it. And if you recall, at the time of the nomination of Professor Nana Jane, if you remember, it came up again. And I am convinced that, look, it was politically expeditious for us to do so under the circumstances. There may even have been schools of thought that actually approved of the fact that President Mahama really had no options. And now that the late vice president is not with us, maybe I'm no longer bound by the conversations that actually took place. Know that he was actually strongly opposed to the grant of pardon to the contemnors in that matter. The sentences, the sentencing, the lack of representation in some cases, even the fact that sometimes they're even forgotten. Of a very long period.
On remand, not that they have been convicted.
No, there is no conviction. There's nothing. They keep remanding them and suddenly it becomes lost in the system. The biggest part is prison infrastructure.
So there you go. That's what happened on Newsfile. Interesting thoughts there. The general consensus seems to be that there was indeed an intention to pardon some people. There was a letter or whatever communication sent to the Council of State by way of consultation. What we are now learning is that the Council of State responded to say that pardon nobody.
So,
So it didn't happen.
Yes,
no,
yes.
it didn't happen.
But isn't it
And-
interesting though? For the first time in the history of presidents exiting, Council of State told the president, pardon nobody.
Why are you saying for the first
so,
time?
so that's what
Because
the,
every time the president is exiting, he pardons somebody.
that's what the former AG is.
Anna.
Maybe they cut that. See, this might be the first time we are privy to the list submitted and the response. Maybe sometimes they say that this list is not good enough, so submit another one. No, it happens. But I'm just worried that you're saying that this is the first time that nobody's being pardoned.
I'm
because
not,
So we're
this
being-
is the first time the president has pardoned nobody.
We're being
And he's saying that he did it on consultation with the Council of State.
yes, which
That's
is
what we are being
prudent
told.
practice.
So that's what we are being told, that it wasn't as if the Council of State rejected the list. It was consultation, so it didn't pass. Do you get it?
But what does that mean? The presidency.
So that was what the former
consultation
AG was
between the
insisting.
presidency and the Council of State.
And at
the
the end of
presidency
it,
presented the list.
at the end of it, they
Remember,
decided
the presidency presented the list.
Well, come
So
on.
if the list, if nobody got pardoned, then
Needless
who
convolution
rejected
is
it?
this. Okay, so
but I think it's been agreed. But for some few names in there, this thing would have just passed easily, and nobody would have known about it.
Few names, eh?
I see. Now, so the president did not exercise prerogative of mercy. I see.
Yep.
Now the BNFT,
No mercy.
the BNFT is
BNFT.
reporting this morning, Koje Jansen,
Yes.
that health issues are responsible for 50% of unproductivity. And that's a study that they are referencing. And they reference conditions like BP, diabetes. They are top workforce inefficiency issues. This is what the paper is reporting. In fact, the study that's on the impact of poor health on businesses and the broader economy has revealed that hypertension and diabetes rank as high as key health issues affecting productivity in the country. The
Look at the
research
study.
is done by Rivia Cole, a healthcare service provider, used findings from blood donations, drives, and health screenings. Rivia Cole indicated that 54% of Ghana's labor force aged 27 to 62 in a study covering 23,000 patients is highly hypertensive. 54% actually.
My goodness.
With a prevalence of 68% among men. So when you isolate, everything, men have bigger problems. According to the research, diabetes prevalence stands at 37% and kidney disease at 23%. Cancers at 26%, with mental health problems accounting for 36% unproductivity rate among the country's workforce.
Wow.
And
Okay, let me ask something. And I'm picking just one of these figures, and that's the mental health figure. So if it turned out that 36% of all workers had COVID, what would happen? Would the government apparatus not simply shut things down to ensure that the problem can be fixed so that it doesn't affect our productivity any further? Would that not happen?
yeah,
Okay. So what are we waiting for? 36% of all workers have mental health issues that affect their productivity. Not just that they have mental health issues, but it is affecting their productivity. 36% of us. At what point will we take this seriously? What percentage will make us take it seriously? And that's mental health. And I deliberately chose that because the others are worse.
can you ask?
Look at hypertension.
I don't know anybody around here who has asked for leave because of their mental health before. I don't know.
I also don't know.
I don't know. I mean, my entire working life, I've not met anybody
Yes. So
I-
what
in the
will
Republic of Ghana.
I
So what will
haven't
happen
seen
is
an
that you come to
excuse
work with it
to-
instead and be either destructive or non-productive.
Will doctors excuse you from work citing mental health?
That's if they're able to
That's-
diagnose it.
Yeah, once it's diagnosed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you appear before a doctor in the first place, suspecting that these are symptoms because mostly people show signs before they go to the hospital. In a part of the world, they wait till it becomes a problem before they go to the hospital.
Remember that we have issues with stigmatization that we haven't dealt with.
Yep.
So will people, individuals themselves, workers, present themselves and agree that because of my mental health, give me an excuse so that my employer would allow me.
And listen, the reason why I picked mental health, and I'm so glad you've made this point about the stigma. The reason why I picked mental health is because the stigma works in both directions. It's a ridiculous situation. We either take them too seriously or we don't take them seriously at all, right? So mental health either attracts the stigma of wabodam, when really it might be depression or something that can very easily be treated, right? But it is treated as some sort of extreme loss of faculties, right? So we take it too seriously. Or we don't take it seriously at all, which is the other side of things. That if you are suffering depression or you are stressed and it's clearly affecting your work, you don't treat it as a real problem. You act as if it's fine. I mean, who is not stressed? Now, what to be a man? It's just regular, So we are either not taking it seriously enough or we are taking it far too seriously. That's the problem with, and it's a weird kind of place, so that the problem itself never gets tackled.
I had a classmate in the UK who was, a teacher suggested that he could be stressed and he should take some time and go and see students first. He said, no, he's Nigerian. Nigerians don't get stressed. I was shocked, but he said that he was rejecting
we joke about
tag.
this.
No, everything is possible that he and Nigeria will be stressed.
It is white man problem.
Yes.
Yeah, they are the ones who go and see.
Because in reality, everything stresses us.
See, that's the point. And see, that's where we start from. But there's a clinical level 1, which is something that should be taken serious.
Yeah.
And again, I actually also feel that if I woke up one morning and said, Sammy, today I'm very stressed, his response will not be, so you can't come to work, right?
So take some time off. No,
it won't happen.
No,
you throw some gun expletives. I can't tell it to my friend. Get up and come to work over there.
Typically, it will be, so can't you come, and then when you are done, you go and see a doctor. You see?
Well.
It won't be, take the day off.
Now he's threatening people on that already.
So it's already affecting our mental health here.
Will HR not use that as a threat against you? Will they take you as a serious worker, for instance?
No.
Or they will start planning your exits because they would say that we can no longer rely on this guy.
Look, the truth is,
the
truth is that people are worried about this.
True.
Okay, so even if HR is well trained and they understand these things, they are not likely to have people raise the issues because people are afraid that this is how they will be treated. They will end up, someone will plan their exit and all of this. We need to pick a day and really talk about this. Okay, I deliberately picked mental health, even though hypertension is a much more serious one.
It's a bigger problem. Yes.
I mean, more than half. It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. President reduces number of ministries. Labour Federation welcomes realignment from 29 to 23. National Cathedral probe soon. That's according to President Mahama. He says government will soon launch an investigation into the National Cathedral project. This will be a follow-up to the recommendation by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice for government to audit the project and investigate any misuse of public funds. So details of that in the paper.
Now the Ghanaian Times says nation thanks God for peaceful elections and President orders probe into electoral killings, direct lands commission to halt sale of leasing of public lands. And I've said these are perhaps the two most important things the president has done for me within this week. These two orders, I think they are very substantive, and I'm hoping that they will not be like others in times past.
Isn't it shocking that there has to be a directive from the president for the Ghana Police Service to do its work? Well, I missed a story on the back page of the Daily Graphic I can't skip. It's Accra had to walk. They eased into the round of 16 of the FA Cup with a commanding 3-0 victory over second-tier side Akachi Home Stars.
Second-tier side.
The final newspaper, energy sector.
Hold on, take your time. Second-tier side.
You wanted me to rush through the story. Now you're asking me to take my time.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Energy sector sweeping reforms crucial to address inefficiencies and mismanagement. Economists have said. Professor Lord Mensah advocates scrapping of import levies. Ecobank pledges support to Kantamanto market fire victims.
Now
there was another fire, wasn't there?
The Techiman.
Okay.